All right, so you've sent over some research on climate change, specifically what the world might look like in the next 50 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Future forecasting.
It's not just trying to predict the weather 50 years out.
Right.
This dives into the potential ripple effects of a changing climate,
Okay.
touching everything from global politics to what we might have on our dinner plates.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the first things that jumped out at me
Yeah.
was this idea that the next 50 years are going to be critical for understanding and addressing climate change. It's
Yeah.
like we're entering a whole new chapter.
Absolutely. And I think the research really emphasizes that while we're already seeing the effects of climate change,
Right.
the really significant consequences are still in the pipeline, which
That's a little scary.
it might sound a little scary, but the good news is
Okay.
it means we still have time to change course.
Okay, so we've got a window of opportunity here.
Yeah.
But before we can even talk about solutions,
Yeah.
let's unpack exactly what kind of changes we're looking at.
Sure.
Paint me a picture.
Yeah.
What does this research say about the world in 2070?
Well, for starters, get ready for a hotter planet.
Okay.
We're talking a potential increase of 2 to 4 degrees Celsius by 2070
Wow.
if emissions aren't curbed.
2 to 4 degrees.
And that's just the global average.
Okay.
Certain regions could see even more dramatic temperature swings.
And hotter temperatures mean, well, we've all seen the headlines about melting glaciers,
Right.
rising sea levels.
Mm-hmm.
How bad could it actually get?
The research suggests a potential sea level rise of anywhere between 0.3 to a full meter.
A meter.
Yeah, 0.3 to a full meter. To put that into perspective, a meter rise in sea level could displace millions, potentially even billions of people from coastal areas.
Wow.
Think about the impact on major cities.
Yeah.
Miami, New York, Shanghai.
Uh,
They could be facing chronic flooding or even permanent submersion.
wow. That's a visual I won't soon forget.
Right.
Cities underwater, it's almost like something out of a dystopian movie.
Yeah.
But it's not just about rising sea levels, is it?
No, it's not.
This research also mentions something about extreme weather events
Right.
becoming more common.
We're not just talking about hotter summers.
Yeah.
Think harsher winters,
Okay.
more powerful storms, and longer, more severe droughts.
Oh.
Imagine a world where extreme weather events, the kind that used to be rare occurrences,
Right.
become the new normal.
Okay, so hotter temperatures, rising sea levels, a whole lot of unpredictable weather.
Yeah,
That's a pretty intense picture you're painting.
it is.
But I have a feeling this is just the tip of the iceberg, right?
This is where it really hits home.
Yeah.
We're not just talking about abstract environmental changes. This is about people.
Right.
It's about the human impact
Yeah.
of a changing climate.
You're right. It's easy to get lost in the science,
Yeah,
but ultimately this is about how these changes affect us,
Yeah.
our families,
exactly.
communities around the world.
And the research gets into some very real consequences.
Okay.
For example,
Yep.
let's talk about food security.
Okay.
We're already seeing droughts disrupt agriculture.
Right.
And those are only going to become more frequent and severe
Yeah.
as temperatures rise.
Right.
Imagine a world where basic staples,
Wow.
like wheat or rice,
Yeah.
become more expensive and harder to come by.
And that's not even considering the potential for mass migrations.
Right.
Conflicts driven by resource scarcity. I
Exactly.
mean, one of the reports mentioned the possibility of up to 1 billion climate refugees by mid-century.
Yeah.
1 million people displaced by climate change. That's
It's a staggering number.
almost the entire population of the planet just a few centuries ago.
And it highlights a crucial point. Climate migration on this scale has no historical precedent.
Right.
We're talking about a potential reshaping of geopolitics, economies, entire societies.
Wow.
Imagine the strain on resources, borders, international relations.
It's like the world is about to be shuffled like a deck of cards.
Yeah.
And it's not just about where people are moving from,
Right.
but also where they're going.
Yeah.
The receiving countries,
Absolutely.
the host cities,
Yeah.
they'll be under immense pressure to adapt.
Absolutely. And let's not forget the potential for conflict.
Oh.
When resources become scarce,
Yeah.
tensions rise.
Yeah.
Water rights, arable land, access to food, these could become flashpoints for conflict,
Wow.
both within and between nations.
This is a lot to process. We've covered some pretty heavy stuff here.
Yeah.
Rising sea levels,
Yeah.
extreme weather, food shortages, mass migrations.
That's a lot.
It's easy to feel overwhelmed.
It is. And it's understandable to feel overwhelmed,
Mm-hmm.
but the research doesn't just present a problem. It also points toward potential solutions.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
What does this research say about what we can actually do? Is there any hope for turning things around? So we've covered the challenges,
Yeah,
but the research doesn't stop there.
it doesn't.
What does it say about potential solutions or
Yeah.
glimmers of hope?
Well, the encouraging thing is that this research really highlights that the next 50 years are a window of opportunity.
Okay.
We can still mitigate the worst effects of climate change,
Okay.
but it requires kind of a multi-pronged approach.
Like a three-pronged attack plan.
Exactly.
Okay.
The research points to solutions at individual,
Okay.
technological, and global levels,
Okay.
and they're all interconnected,
Right.
like pieces of a puzzle that need to fit together.
Okay, let's break that down.
Yeah.
Let's start with the individual. What can we as individuals really do
Yeah.
to make a dent in a problem this massive?
It's easy to feel powerless,
Right.
but individual actions do add up.
Okay.
Reducing consumption is key.
Okay.
This could mean driving less,
Right.
opting for energy-efficient appliances, or simply being mindful of what we're buying and how much we're consuming.
So those small everyday choices actually matter
They do.
in the grand scheme of things.
They really do. It's about a collective shift in mindset.
Okay.
Imagine millions, even billions of people
Yeah.
making those choices.
Right.
It can create a ripple effect, driving demand for sustainable products and influencing larger-scale change.
That makes sense. But individual actions alone aren't going to solve a global crisis, right?
Right.
We need bigger solutions.
Yeah,
We need like a whole lot of brain power directed at them.
you got it. And that's where the technological aspect comes in.
Okay.
We need to accelerate the transition to renewable energy sources,
Right.
solar,
Yeah.
wind, geothermal.
Right.
The technology is already here, and it's becoming increasingly affordable.
I've actually been thinking about getting solar panels for my house.
Oh, yeah.
Would that kind of thing really move the needle?
Absolutely. Every bit helps.
Okay.
Plus, as more people adopt these technologies,
Right.
it drives down costs
Mhm.
and makes them more accessible to everyone.
Right.
The win-win.
Okay, so we've got individual action and tech innovations,
Mm-hmm.
but then there's the big one, global cooperation.
Right.
How do we get everyone on the same page? Especially in a world that often feels so divided.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
International agreements are crucial. We need binding commitments from countries around the world to reduce emissions and invest in sustainable practices.
Easier said than done, though, right?
It's definitely a challenge.
It's like herding cats sometimes getting everyone to agree.
It's definitely a challenge, but not impossible.
Okay.
The research emphasizes the need to address global inequality as part of the solution.
Okay.
When we invest in developing nations, helping them build resilience to climate impacts, and promoting equitable access to resources,
Right.
we create a more stable and sustainable future for everyone.
So it's not just about tackling emissions, it's about creating a more just and equitable world
Exactly.
in the process.
It's about recognizing that climate change is a shared problem that demands a collective response,
Okay.
and that by working together, we can create a future where both people and the planet can thrive.
This deep dive has been quite a journey from the depths of future climate challenges to the possibilities of positive change.
It's amazing what we can accomplish when we face challenges head on, right?
It really is. And to our listener, if you're feeling overwhelmed, remember this.
Yeah.
You're not alone. Every step you take, every action you choose contributes to a larger solution.
That's right.
Keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep making those choices that create the future you want to see.
Well said.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning.
Hmm.
And remember, the future is still unwritten.